is, as far as you're concerned, either film or even television movie?
You've got to be honest about movies. You've got to be honest about something in your life. And I have to be honest about my favourite. Favorite movie is the one I want to see again and again and again and again. Which is it?
Go on.
Terminator 1.
Terminator 1? Oh no, Terminator 2.
Not Terminator, no, not Terminator 2.
Terminator 2.
Terminator 2 is Terminator 2 is like a franchise round. It spends more money for less effect. It's spend more, less effect. Terminator 1 is perfect.
Is that the one with John Harvey Jones? Oh no, troubleshooter. You know, sort of big fat bloke who goes and blasts industries. It's the same thing, isn't it?
It's a perfectly crafted movie. It happens to be an intellectual zero. I mean, it has no mental existence. So why am I watching it? Maybe I'm as stupid as it is. You know, maybe there's something about Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, he's not the first Austrian who dreamed of conquering the world. But the difference between Arnie and Adolf is that Arnie knows how to do it. You know?
And he'll be back.
I'll be back.
What about you, Rory? Triumphs or turkeys that you remember?
Oh, heavens of love. Oh, the ones that stick out. It's always very difficult to find with lists because it sort of goes. It's like Barry Norman says. I think films, you need about 20 or 30 years of gap until you can tell whether a film's really great or not. I mean, I saw Casablanca the other day. I know that was made years and years ago, but I've never seen the full sort of cinema version. I thought it was brilliant. There's just so much going on. Oh, The Elephant Man, since Sir Anthony Hopkins has got his knighthood today. I think that was. Does that fall in the last 10 years?
And Sir David Frost, we must mention. No, you mentioned.
He's in The Elephant Man. Yeah.
Is he in The Elephant Man?
Yes. You pick up the paper and they say, "Oh, that horrific man who eats people for breakfast has won a knighthood." And, oh, congratulations, David Frost. Oh no, it's Andy Potter. Sorry, the big man.
You're so kind.
Bobby.
No, but he'll be back in the new year. I'll be back. Don't forget. Watch me on Sunday mornings.
Well, we'll miss the
I'm doing
old
that
fella.
show as well.
Yeah.
Actually, we'll be doing that in the new year.
Are you? Good. Bobby, what about you? Do you get out and about and watch the films? Or
I have a favourite film. My favourite film is Robert Redford in The Natural. Do you ever see that one? Based on baseball.
More baseball.
Yeah.
You guys are baseball crazy.
It's not so much the actual thing about baseball. It's just the whole. I like soppy films.
It's a good movie, actually.
It's a super film. I can find myself watching that. I love Field of Dreams. I love that film. You know, a lot of people not so keen, but I love Field of Dreams.
And
The worst one I saw recently was Basket Case. Did you ever see that?
No.
The head with little hands, and it jumped out this basket and ate people. And it was.
I nominate Rutger Hauer in The Jugger as the worst film I've ever seen.
Well, nominate Rutger Hauer in Blade Runner as the best film.
that was a good movie. That was a good movie.
That was a
my
wonderful
favourite
film.
movie of the day.
Yeah.
What about any specific fears for the future in terms of cinema, or is cinema gone the way of television? Do you think marketing is all, or
The movies can't get any worse. That's a great comfort. Unless they actually start killing people on screen, actual snuff movies, the movies can't get any worse. So from here on it goes up. I think that's the good news. Things have bottomed out. They couldn't possibly more. The real trouble with movies is that the effects are getting so good that the people making them are forgetting they're creating reality, not illusion. The reason why I hated the second Indiana Jones movie is that it was made by directors who were brought up with lousy serials and enjoyed all those bad special effects. But these guys are creating good special effects. So when they make movies and somebody tears somebody's brains out, the kids watching it think somebody's brains are getting torn out.
Yeah.
The movies are just simply too powerful. And I've seen children. What terrifies me is I've got my hands over my eyes, but when I peek through my fingers, I see children looking at the screen like this. They're used to it.
That's the thing. About 10 years ago, we were sort of thinking, why isn't anyone going to the cinema? But now the cinemas are packed again, aren't they? I mean, but that's the question. Is what are they
the
watching?
dangerous anaesthetic that Clive's speaking about.
Absolutely.
That's
That's the point.
We've got to break off just for a moment. We'll chat more later, but thanks for the moment for joining us. Gambo as ever.
Okay.
Thank you. You're a little genius. That's a fact.
Come and see my new film, Tootsie 2.
You've just lost the franchise, Davern.
Right, we'll take a break now. After the break, Jimmy Greaves with the best TV over the past 10 years.
It's big. It's back. It's Big Bingo in the Sun, coming to a newsagent near you soon.
The New Year's here, so let's celebrate. At the Allied sale tomorrow, there's a lot of big surprises for everyone. Amazingly low-priced velvet curtains from only $9.99. And fabulous half-price offers on suites from only £499. And big surprise bargains on over 3,000 carpets like this one, half price at only $3.99 per square yard. So get down to Allied this week and really surprise yourself.
get out of bed on the wrong side. Get out of bed on the bright side. Good morning, TV! 3.5 hours of the brightest breakfast TV you've ever seen.
Good morning to you. We were possibly the fattest teachers in Great Britain. That was us, believe it or not, Michael and Sheena Osborne.
Before we lost 66 pounds in just 3 months on the Slim Fast plan.
It's easy with Slim Fast. You have a delicious, nutritious shake for breakfast, one for lunch, and a proper dinner.
I lost 30 pounds with Slim Fast.
And I lost 36.
And we've never felt fitter.
And you can do it too, with Slim Fast.
Give Slim Fast a week. See the weight come off.
You'll find massive savings at the Argos sale. Now on. So watch out for the sale booklet. Out now!
Tilda American Easy Cook Rice is easy to cook, and it won't stick. Tilda.
Rumbelows are having a sale. And you can't buy this cheaper anywhere else. Rumbelows sale, now on!
It's big. It's back. It's Big Bingo in the Sun, coming to a newsagent near you soon.
You're all sacked. Little in joke there. That was the gallery. That's good. Good. Jimmy Greaves, one of TVM's great favourites.
Michael,
is here.
how are you?
How are you?
Well, very well, and it's great to be here.
And how auspicious that sat next to Jimmy Greaves is
Jimmy Greaves, the second. And
there's another one.
It's
been a funny old decade.
It has been a funny old decade, Rory.
What were the high spots for you?
Well, not a lot actually, mate.
Come on, Greasy, you crack me up. No, Saint, that's wind.
Take your hands off me, EJ.
Well,
you know? Up and down like Newcastle, you know.
Actually,
You can't do that and say things about Julian Clary.
No, that's true.
Not with what you're doing with your hands, I don't think.
Actually, you're quite right. I want people to know where I stand.
Hello, darling.
Oh, fine. Now back to
Let's get one thing straight.
Yes. Well, after that, that's it. Knock me notes over. Go
on me ladder.
Yeah. After the precision, look at that. After the precision of Paul Gambaccini, we've got mayhem here now, haven't we? But I don't know. I mean, you look back over the last 10 years of television. Where do we go? Top soap, I suppose. Without doubt, I think it's Coronation Street.
Yep.
The eminence of EastEnders came in the mid-80s and has improved. I mean, it's become a very good soap. What do you think, chaps? Do you watch it at all?
EastEnders is a triumph, there's no question about it. But I'm an Eldorado fan. Speaking of my capacity as a BBC presenter, I'm here to say that. I think if they stay with Eldorado, they ought to cast...
It's like the Parrot sketch. It's a late soap opera. It ceased to be...
Actually, almost all soap operas start badly. In fact, EastEnders didn't start all that well, I don't think.
No, it didn't.
Eldorado needs a few casting additions, some few real Spaniards like Antonia de Sancho. She could be a waitress in it.
It's interesting point. It's an interesting point because you working for the BBC. The BBC can actually afford to allow it to.
I don't think anyone could afford a turkey. The trouble is people make honest mistakes. Nobody ever set out to make a bad program. It's something that critics often forget. You put your heart and soul into it, and then it's up there on the screen and it doesn't work. So what do? You jump off a cliff. That's what you do.
Well, you do.
And then you've got to fix it, and fixing it is expensive.
But even is the fixing working? It doesn't look the muse of it.
Well, I think it's better. I was very sorry to see Fizz go. I'm intruding into territory here.
No, you're not, Clive, because it's the end of the show and we can't go anywhere after this one.
Why were you sorry to see Fizz go?
I like Fizz. Fizz wasn't the greatest actress in the world. In fact, the tendency in the long shots to swing her hands like a schoolgirl. but I kind of liked her, you know. I like.
You grew to like. Are we talking about a pure love here? Or?
Oh, the love of the people on screen is never pure. The fact is, you have carnal relationships with all of them, don't you find? I mean, even with these guys. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Please, James, please.
Absolutely. So we are agreed that Coronation Street was the best seller.
Yeah.
El Dorado will get more viewing figures in the winter, I think.
I think the Bills maintain a very high standard.
The Bill is very... I mean, there's lots
Casualty
of
now?
them. Casualty is superb. That's a great... I don't know whether that comes under a soap. It's more of a drama.
No, I don't think the Bill does either. I think those are really drama series.
Yeah. Casualty
Going to
being
go 3
a
times a
drama.
week next
One-offs, I suppose, really, early days. I mean, Brideshead was actually in the 80s, but we weren't on there at TVAM when it was first shown. So picking out one that, when we were on air, was probably Jewel in the Crown. I don't think anyone's ever matched that since.
You've selected, though, a programme that's maintained an incredibly high level of consistency and so on.
It has.
And it was again, I thought, at Christmas, one of the best.
Yeah, it began in 1981, and I think has got better and better. And as you say, on Christmas Day, it was still as funny as it's ever been. And although the characters have got older, in fact, Leonard Pierce, who is the granddad, well, I was building up to that. You've gone and done me now.
Sorry, I thought
a yellow card.
10. I'm sorry. And more laughs in that these days, isn't it?
Well, there ain't too many laughs in news at 10, is there? Or the news.
I was talking about the programme.
I mean, actually, talking about, before we go into that, someone said, what's your best factual programme? And a few people laughed, but I thought it was the Antiques Roadshow. Because I think it's a great programme, that. And
it must have the highest yield of number of viewers for actual outlay. A couple of guys.
I want to know
what,
what Hugh Scully does during the programme, because he sort of pops out at the beginning and then he goes down to the pub or something.
That's all he does.
About 3/4 of an hour later, says, well, that's it, join us next week. That's a good job, isn't it?
It's really great watching people's faces, though, isn't it? When
the anticipation.
And when someone's really got a bomber and they're thinking it's going to be worth a few grand.
You took Saint so long to that, didn't you?
Yeah, go on.
He's in St John. How much is he worth? Oh, I'm sorry.
Too old.
Hard to tell.
But the reason their face is falling isn't just because they thought they had something valuable. They base their lives around it. They think it's a Ming vase. People in the village, they've shown it to, have a look at the Ming. There's years of this assumption, and then it turns out it's worth 4 and 6.
I know.
Some more career crashes. It's like going on Mastermind and getting nothing in your special subject. This is it forever. You go home to your village and they were looking at you. They always thought you were a know-all.
Now, James, you've been editing in the middle of the night.
Well, let's have a look at what I would say is my top comedy programme throughout the decade, which is Fools and Horses. And we've got a clip. Shall we have a look at it?
Yes, why not?
Fools and Horses.
Wait, Grandad, how you doing?
All right, dear boy. I found it, Dale.
Yeah, see, he's found the nut. I told you we could trust him. Right, come on, get this out.
I'm sorry to undo it.
Yeah. No! Go on, Benny, we ain't even up the ladders yet.
Grandad, don't you touch nothing till we tell you.
Come on, we better get up there. Right, Rodney, is there anything you want?
Yeah, I want to go home. Too safe.
That is all right. Look, this is the chance I've been waiting for. Now, don't let me down, Rodney. Now, don't let me down. All right? All right, Grandad, we're ready. You can start undoing it now.
He's coming, dear boy. One more turn, Dale.
Right. Now, brace yourself, Rodney.
Great clip,
Good
that.
stuff.
Very
Yes.
fun.
Very, very good.
Top Cop, Inspector Morse, absolutely brilliant. I think Frost is coming up to scratch.
Sir David Frost?
Not Sir David, no. Frost with David Jason. But Morse is absolutely superb, and there's a new series that starts in the new year. Do not miss it, whatever you do. What are you doing, Clive?
It's called Fame in the 20th Century, Jimmy, and I've been working on it for 2 years, and it's going out on Wednesday nights, and the first 3 shows go out opposite Inspector Morse.
Oh, that is...
I want to appeal to you out there. For God's sake, if you haven't got a video machine, find someone who owns a video
very much.
One of the happy things about TVM is we've been totally plug-free for 10 years, and it's
So,
good to see
yes,
this tradition continue.
We can see you tonight. We can see you tonight. Now, let me get this right.
Yeah.
10:20 on BBC One in England and
sir.
in Northern Ireland and Wales, but in Scotland I'll be seeing you at 11:30.
Yes,
And I will-
Australia and New Zealand the following night. Bruce Gills couldn't tell people when he flies back to Australia, watch this show. And it leads up to midnight, and then we have a few minutes after midnight for the big surprise. Don't miss that big surprise.
We will not miss it. We'll be there.
I'll be unconscious. I'm afraid. And you're, of course, the morning after the year before, is
That's
it?
10 o'clock
Channel 4.
tomorrow night, the first on Channel 4, 10 o'clock.
I hope John Major watches that. I'd like to hear it.
There's no doubt.
Well, Bobby Goldilocks, thank you for appearing
Yes,
in your...
thanks, at Wimbledon Theatre, I'll run the plugs. It's wonderful to see you, James. Wimbledon Theatre till the end of January. Come and see 2 shows a day today.
It's been a typical TVM edition in which you sat there with a skirt and hairy knee taking part in a serious conversation with no comment.
Scored again.
Jimmy, as ever, thank you.
Thank you very much, Jean.
Time to have the weather with Nikki. Good morning, Nikki.
Thanks, Mike. Well, it's the last ever weather forecast on TVM. It's a fairly dull, misty one. There's a few showers around in Northern Ireland and in northwestern Scotland. For the rest of the country, well, it's waking up to a lot of mist and fog and cloud and so on. There's a little bit of drizzle around here and there. Now, that drizzle could turn into ice on some of the stretches of road this morning, so do take care there. The picture won't change much this afternoon. Much of the mist and fog will lift, and there'll still be showers up there in the northwest. Elsewhere, though, a little bit drizzly and miserable, quite cold as well, between 3 and 5 Celsius. That's around the 40 Fahrenheit mark. Tonight, though, there's wetness in the northwest, but elsewhere there'll be fog and freezing cold weather, and that means dangerous roads on on the way home from your Christmas party. You didn't get the job, Bobby. Anyway, that's it. That's the last ever weather forecast from TVAM. I've been trying to think up something soppy and sentimental to say, but actually this is all turning into quite a party. It's been absolutely brilliant being here. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone here. Thank you, everyone at home. Bye-bye. Mike.
Poignant moment. Why didn't you just have one more shot of Nikki? You thought you were going to say goodbye. Come back.
Oh, it's off.
There you are, I see you're on. Not goodbye, just au revoir.
Yeah.
Nikki, thanks for being with us through all the years. You've been a very affable, amiable, splendid colleague.
Thank you too. The
Come
same
back at the
applies,
end, you might
Mike.
get a free drink.
Fine, I'll
Okay.
stick around. See you later.
Okay, now's the time we normally cross over to You Know Who at Sky News. Lisa, for today she's made the trek over to us. Good morning to you, Lisa.
Good morning, Mike, Lorraine.
Well, what a decade we've had.
Indeed, indeed.
And as a newsreader, what an extraordinary period to preside over the top bulletins of the day. Seldom has there been so many heavy, major stories in such a short time.
Incredible. I mean, momentous events have happened. I've only been here just over 4 years, and so many big things have happened in that time. Everything from, the Gulf War, Berlin Wall coming down, collapse of the breakup of the Soviet states, recession, depression, the big stories, the big scandals, BCCI, Maxwell, things like that. But I would like to say I'm proud to be part of a team that have written about and reported on not just the big stories, but all the stories. Brilliant bunch.
It has to be said the news team were throughout their existence underrated and underwritten.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and on most days quite easily rivaled their supposed superiors. Was there ever a moment, finally, so when you couldn't separate emotion from the story you were reading? I know that's always the classic battle for the newsreader, isn't it?
Several times I came quite close to breaking up, I think. I think the Berlin Wall coming down was very emotional for all of us. Nelson Mandela coming out, that was incredible. The feeling, that this man had been let out, that was incredible. But more personally, I came to TVM as a reporter, and it was so nice just to carry on reporting. And I did get the chance to, for example, go to Bangladesh and cover the devastating cyclone there. That was nice.
Well,
and I even had fun with Nikki Fox. And we did lots of fun in the suns together
What do you
in
mean you
various
had fun?
places.
I don't look so sad, because we're still on air,
Well, I know.
Stay with us for the moment, Lisa.
We have indeed. And it's just after 9 o'clock. This is when we would normally say hello to Kathy Taylor for After 9. And Kathy's kindly joined us this morning all the way from her holiday. It's really good to see you. And Auntie Claire
Well,
as
it's a
well.
Thursday, isn't it, Claire?
The week
I
it
know.
had to be. Yes, it had to be on a Thursday.
Cool.
Yeah.
What do you think, really, I know it's difficult, but sort of would sum up TVM for you all the time that you've been here?
I think it's the people more than anything. I know we're talking about the quality of programming that we've put out as well, and that certainly has been excellent. But for me, it's the people, and it's the people that I will miss when I'm not here. that we have just been such a wonderful team of everyone putting together. And of course the viewers tend to only see the people on, if it all goes right, they only see the people on the sofa. But we know how many people there are behind the cameras and that you can't even see in the studio. And the fact that it is the whole team of people putting together to make that programme, that's what's important.
And very much for your programme that was the audience as well. You get such a brilliant response from them, didn't you?
Well, that's right. We have a little team on After 9. We have the After 9 desk, which is we are a team, and we very much pulled together for that. But yes, the viewers as well. I mean, on that level, it's a huge, huge team. It's millions of people, and we're all one big happy family, and it's great. And it's a shame to lose that, but it's also a privilege to have had it.
Because for you yourself, I mean, you're expecting a baby next year.
Well, it's not millions of people. But my family is expanding. Yes, it won't just be Ollie, Rebecca, and me.
But also, so many people identified with you when you were first having wee Rebecca, and you brought her in, and people, they really did feel that you were very much one of the family.
Well, from the letters that I've had, it's just absolutely wonderful, and so many people sent presents to Rebecca, and this little one has already had quite a few as well, which it is just so lovely. I mean, to think of people at home knitting away for my baby, and they don't really know me, they only know what they see on the screen, but that's enough for them to want to do that, and it's wonderful. And it's just lovely I mean, I've been with TVM almost 4 years, with After 9 just over 3, and it's been a fantastic 3 years and 4 years.
And Auntie Claire, talking about letters, you have to wade through
I wanted to put in a word about that, because there's a whole, as it were, the hard underbelly, if I may call it that, of TVM that no one knew about, which was how much work and effort and money was being put into giving a service that never appeared on screen. I mean, I remember, I don't know if you remember, Kathy, well, the campaign we ran about cervical cancer, we sent out 180,000 leaflets on that. There were leaflets about breast self-examination, as a result of which we got marvellous letters from women saying, thank you, I saw the item, I checked myself, I found a lump, I've had the treatment and I'm great. Now that was terrific. So that was the hard, solid work that went on that no one knew anything about. The company, the station financed, and I, for one, am very grateful on behalf of all of you, because there was tremendous service that was given. I was allowed to be at the front and sort of dish it out, but it was
both hugely popular, and the Dear One mentioned ratings, but the ratings showed that.
Oh, that's nice.
And one thing about Kathy, I think you'd agree, Claire, everybody says, is she as nice as she seems? And the answer is sickening. Yes, she is as nice as she seems.
Can we say the same thing about Mike, I asked myself?
Now, we're fed up working here, right?
I do have to say, I mean, I started off presenting with Mike in the spot that Lorraine's sitting now, and I didn't think I could get any higher. I'm not sure that I did on After 9, because it was sometimes a little bit lonely there by myself. But Mike, it was the first 8 months on TVM with you were great.
Oh,
I learned a lot. I learned a lot.
Thank you. But we're going to relax, Lorraine and I, now, because we've decided to let the ace reader.
Ace reader out alone.
Off you go, Lisa.
Listen, while all this lot have been working from the comfort of a nice soft sofa, I've been stuck in a box on a swivel chair. So today, last day I've been let out. Now, I've only been here for 4 years, but TVM has been on the air every day for 10 years. We reckon we've had nearly 30,000 guests on this sofa and reported from just about every country in the world. A lot of it was serious, but as you're about to see, an awful lot of it was just great fun. Here's our way of saying thank you to all the people who've helped us to make TVAM Britain's best.
Thank you for waking me this morning. Thank you for giving me today. Thank you for every new day dawning. I'll be thanking you.
Yeah, you said I was chatting too much. I'm not chatting too much.
It's time. What have you done here?
Oh no, this is what they've done for.
That's ridiculous. You're a complete lunatic.
I'm not ashamed to say.
Oh no.
I hope it always will stay this way.
Yeah, I can see
My
it
hat
coming.
is
Thank
off.
you.
Won't you stand up and take a bow? And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, well, you would see the biggest gift would be for me, and the card attached would say thank you for being Thank you for being a friend. Hello. Thank you for being a friend. I wanna thank you. Let me tell you about a friend. I wanna thank you. Thank you for being a friend. I wanna thank you. Thank you for being a friend. I wanna thank you. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for the days, those endless days, those sacred days you gave me. I'm thinking of the days I won't forget a single day, believe me.
Now thank a million thanks to you for everything that love could bring. You brought me. Thanks for the memories.
Name that tune.
Sentimental verse, nothing in my purse, and chuckles when the preacher said, for better or for worse. How lovely it was. Thanks for the memory of Schubert's serenade, little things of jade, and traffic jams and anagrams and bills we never paid. How lovely it was.
Thank you very much for the A3 iron. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the A3 iron. Thank you very, very, very much.
You can sweep the floor in studio with it. Use it as a lot of
Start off on camera 2. Thank you very much for the birds and bees. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the family circle. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the family circle. Thank you very much. Thank you very, 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 very much. You don't know how much they all mean. They seem much better in my dreams. Oh, thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much for the A3 iron. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the A3 iron. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for love. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for love. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the Sunday joints. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the Sunday joints and our cultural heritage. National beverage. Being fat. Union Jack. The nursery rhymes. Sunday Times. The napalm bomb. Everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you very, 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 very much. Thank you very much for our gracious team. Thank you very much, thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for our gracious team. Thank you very, very, very much.
Yes, a few of us have changed a little over the years. A few of the memories of TVM from the last 10 years. Now, we thought we'd sort of go out with, just very quietly, it's time for some exercise with Lizzie, and she's just brought along one or two of her friends to help her in this last exercise workout. Here she is, Lizzie.
Just one or two. I mean, we've had great guests over the years. Are you ready, team? Take it away. Give yourselves a big clap. Arms up. Woo! Stretched up. Take those arms up. And clap again. Woo! Right, can you get those knees up?
down. Right, kick up. Up with those legs. Woo! Whee! It is. And again, just give yourselves a big clap for joining in. Up we go! Take it away! Have a good dance! Not at all! Woo! The floor is slippery! To the side! Woo! Pull those arms back. Give a good old punch to see the new year in. Happy New Year! Give away!
Brilliant. And to think that they tried to bring Come Dancing off British television. Unbelievable.
That was amazing.
We're joined by a family of presenters here, and let's just ask you really, almost finally, what the defining moments of TVN, things that define TVN. What about you, Lorraine?
Very recent, actually. You know, we had our farewell lunch. We came in the next day and we were both still drunk, I think, hungover.
Half cut, to be honest.
And your man was sober.
Oliver Reed was
Oliver
sober.
Reed was sober,
Yeah.
and we were half cut.
That defines
And I think
TVN.
that sums it up.
TVN. Lisa, what about you?
I'm exhausted from all that. For me, I think it's very visual colour. The pinks, the yellows, the greens, and to me that is warmth, which leads on to family and friendship and, yeah, family, that feeling.
Kathy?
Apart from the people that I've already talked about, I think there's one moment I will always remember, and I was so proud to be there. It was when I was working on GMB with you, and we had Ben Kingsley and Anthony Hopkins on the sofa, and they discovered, coming out of Russell Grant doing the horoscopes, and we would never have discovered this had we not had Russell Grant doing the horoscopes, that they were both born on the 31st of December, and they were great pals anyway, and that just gave them such...
Which cued one of our best programmes.
It really was such a good programme, and I will never forget having been a presenter on
One
the
moment that defines TVN for me is curiously involves Anthony Hopkins, now Sir Anthony Hopkins. He was in makeup, and one of the makeup ladies, a great department, but
Brilliant department.
advanced towards him with a huge green wig and said, "Here's your wig." He said, "I'm sorry, that's not for me. I'm Anthony Hopkins." "No, I'm sorry, this is your wig." "No, I'm really sorry. I am just appearing in the normal." "No, I'm sorry, this is your green wig." Put it on. Of course, it emerged after a long time. It was Mr. Mallett's wig. That defines TVN for me. And Catherine,
Well, that's
what do we say to Catherine?
Oh, well, there are bizarre moments here, bizarre mixes of guests. The Stranglers and Thora Hird ending up having breakfast together.
Brilliant.
After appearing on Here Together. Absolutely remarkable.
Wonderful.
I'm coming in as a reporter from interviewing Tom King and finding Jason Donovan doing his video on the stairs. There'll never be another place like it.
Wonderful, wonderful. And there's good news. Give us the good news.
Yes, I'm having a baby at the end of July. I'm so pleased about it.
Excellent.
Well done, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done.
Well, it's nearly time to say goodbye. Recently we've had an absolute avalanche of letters and cards from viewers wishing us well. Well, it's high time we thanked you, the viewers, excuse me, for your loyalty.
Yes, even now, take that. Yes, even now on our final day, we remain quite easily the most popular breakfast television viewing. Thank you for that. We wish the staff of Thames TV, TSW and TVS all the best on their last days as well. But now, if you'll just forgive the self-indulgence for a time, it's time for the last farewell to our staff. In the words of the song, and I know it's a cliche, they're simply the best.
Simply the best. Better than all the rest. Better than anyone. Anyone I've ever met. I stuck out
Ah, what a bunch of rogues, and you're the biggest rogue of all of the kids. It's been great working with you.
And now you know I'm going to be a passport photographer. We'd like to thank everybody who's been watching TVM. We've enjoyed your company.
Yeah.
But from TVM, sadly, we now have to say it finally. Thank you and goodbye.
Apparently, these monsters in my pocket scare the pants off you. Ah! One free inside every packet of Wheatos.
I'm back.
Hello, darling. What did you get? Chicken?
Yo!
Oh, Colin, we had chicken yesterday. You know how picky the kids are.
And picky kids means leftovers.
Picky, when you've a new range of sauces, especially for chicken, from Coleman's.
Coleman's?
Coq au vin, Italienne.
Ooh!
Sweet and sour and Mexicano.
Ooh, yum.
Oh, no.
Can't see the kids being picky now, eh, George?
Can we have chicken again tomorrow, Mum?
Thanks, Coleman's. The new sauces for chicken range by George's Coleman's.
The ancestral tray.
When he who is the chosen one shall tread upon the ancient path and battle there to overcome
The forces of the dark. The Ancestral Trail, an epic story of myths, magic, and monsters. In each part, follow the trail to strange new lands and to meet terrifying beasts. Use your monster cards and ancient map to solve the ultimate quest, victory over the forces of the dark. The Ancestral Trail.
Oh, no!
Open again.
3-0? How can anyone be that lucky? Best of 7.
Okay.
This time I'll play it cool.
Here comes my winger, and it's a beautiful run, and he lobs it across, and the striker comes in.
He's done me again.
Never mind, Dad. Here comes the PG Tips.
PG picked the youngest, freshest tips of the tea bush, which makes PG Tips the tea you can really taste.
You know, son, there's more to this life than winning.
Yes, Dad.
Best of 9.
You'll find massive savings at the Argos sale. Now on. So watch out for the sale booklet.
Help now!
The Comet sale is now on, with up to 25% off. You know where to come.
When it comes to the acid test, new Andrew's antacid tablets help relieve heartburn, acid indigestion, and trapped wind.
Suckerman C. I fancy some beef. If I could take that grill out, I could do a cracking steak on it. Oh yeah, a big juicy sirloin, all marinated and garlicky. Look at it just sizzling away there. That's enough that side. Cool, that beef looks well tender. It's gonna melt in the mouth, that is. A few herbs. Just doing me time.
British beef. Even the thought of it tastes good.
Don't get out of bed on the wrong side. Get out of bed on the bright side.
Good morning, TV!
3.5 hours of the brightest breakfast TV you've ever seen.
Good morning to you.
Hello there, good morning to you and a very warm welcome to Television Southwest on this December the 31st, 1992. Well, an emotional moment there at TVAM in London on that their very last day. Thanks to them for the last 10 years, they've been brilliant and we still have 14.5 hours to go. Do stay with us because we start our last day here on TSW with the new adventures of He-Man.
My name is Adam of Grayskull. When good is threatened by the power...
TAM.
Party, we think it's terribly important to keep faith with the TVM viewers. After all, they didn't ask for the legislation that changed things, and we want them to feel familiar and happy with the programming that we're providing.
At TBS in Southampton, the last programme has already been recorded. Viewers in that region will see tonight excerpts from the company's output over the last 11 years. But the programme producer doubts if many will realise its significance.
An awful lot of people simply didn't notice that TVS took over from Southern. A lot of people still refer to what's on Southern tonight.
And a lot of the old familiar faces will still be there. Thames Television, which lost its London franchise to Carlton, will bow out tonight with a compilation of its finest programmes, some of which it will continue to make for the network as an independent producer. But the real significance of tonight's changes is their long-lasting effects on the ITV system. With many companies bidding high for their new franchise, there are doubts about whether they can all survive.
Harry, will those watching notice any difference?
I suppose that'll really depend on what sort of programs you watch and, of course, where you watch them. I'm in the newsroom of a new company called the London News Network. Now, this was set up jointly by the two London television companies to provide something new. It'll be a 7-day-a-week news service for London. Now, the programme which will go out from here next week will also be an hour-long programme, not a half-hour programme, and they've promised all sorts of innovations in the way it's presented, so something new for London. But it is true that in many regions, viewers will see a change of logo and not a lot else. And of course, programmes like Minder and The Bill will still be broadcast, even though Thames has lost its franchise.
Harry, you mentioned a few changes, but what about in the long term?
Well, that's what no one's terribly sure about. Some of the companies who bid for the franchise in the auction last year did so with bids which are now regarded as too high. We've already seen the merger of two of the regional companies. The chances are we could see some more mergers or even one company going out of business altogether.
Harry, thank you. Anthony Hopkins, who won an Oscar for his starring role in...
Hello, good evening. Well, our very last cloud scan sequence for 1992 from the Met Office really does convey the way things worked out today. Dull, grey skies on the whole, and this brighter cloud, this sliver here, represents a weather front working its way across the country, at least the northwest, tonight. So it's patchy rain for Northern Ireland as well as Western Scotland. Elsewhere, very much cloudy skies. But then as the night wears on, some of that cloud will tend to break up, leading to the by now familiar story of fog and frost. And with temperatures at -3, -2, high 20s, that obviously will prove freezing fog. And so if you are driving, do take extra care. Later on, we see more general cloud and rain just slipping into the far northwest. So as we go into tomorrow, that fog will tend to linger in places, freezing fog, mainly Yorkshire, the Midlands, central England, as well as the southeast, so do watch out for that. Otherwise, it's a bright, sunny start for Northern Ireland and parts of Scotland. Then later on, that cloud will tend to pile up over most of the country, apart from a few hazy rays of sunshine for Wales as well as the southwest. And then we see general rain once again creeping into the very far northwest, and the winds very much freshening and getting up. In terms of temperatures, again for the northwest, 10 in Belfast, a positively mild spring-like day, 9 for Glasgow, 48, but much colder than that, where the fog tends to stick, barely making it above freezing. Now a very quick look ahead to the first weekend of the year. On Saturday for the south, it's a case of some sunshine, dry weather, fog lingering on in some places, cloudy, wet and windy for the north, and really Sunday turning out to be a repeat performance of Saturday's weather. That's the way we expect things to go. Have a very good New Year's Eve. I'll leave you with a weather summary.
Hello there. Well, it's New Year's Eve and I'm here all by myself. No Gus, no Sally, but I have a sneaking suspicion they could be appearing after this break.
Whatever your circumstances, you should be with N&P.
Pin back your ears and listen up, fellas. I'm gonna tell you how to make your friends jealous. You gotta find the key to the Frosty's taste from the top secret formula on which it's based. Wow, Tony, wow, Tony, wow, Tony, wow. How, Tony, how, Tony, how, Tony, how?
Delicious, dazzling, light, they're kicking. Try 'em, kids, your lips you'll be licking. Now, what makes 'em so appealing? It's a secret formula, but I ain't squealing.
Wow, Tony, wow, Tony, wow, Tony, wow. How, Tony, how, Tony, how, Tony, how?
Check 'em out as part of your nutritious breakfast. They're great.
Whatever your circumstances, you should be with N&P.
Hello, I'm Tristram Payne, and a very warm welcome to this, the last ever New Year's Eve with Television Southwest. Well, they're raring to go in the TSW Today studios next door, so I'll just like to say thank you very much for everything and to wish you a very happy New Year.
A month's remand for man accused of retirement home murder. A top honour for Annette Penhaligon. And the end of a television era as TSW's time runs out. Good evening and welcome to what is the very last TSW Today ever. Now it is a very sad occasion indeed, but we're going to try and make this next hour more of a celebration. A celebration of the many good things about TSW these past 11 years. Our award-winning programmes that we've made, our coverage of the big stories and events, and the many friends that we have welcomed through these doors. And here is one very special friend to help me here this evening.
Hello, Sue. Lovely to see you.
You too. Happy Christmas.
Looking,
Happy New
looking
Year.
super as ever. Nice to see you too, and I'll be delighted to meet later on some of the hundreds of people who've made a contribution to TSW since the early days. Not just the reporters and presenters, but a good cross-section of the community that we know as the Southwest.
So while Ken and I make our way to the studio, waiting there already with today's news is Dominic. Should we go?
Let's go for it.
Come along, let me lead the way.
Thank you, Sue. Good evening. A young man has appeared before magistrates in Camborne charged with the murder of 99-year-old Sarah Burke. 21-year-old Del Hampson from Redruth was remanded in custody for a month following his first court appearance on Boxing Day.
A small crowd gathered to watch Del Hampson arrive at the magistrate's court. He was quickly ushered into the courtroom for a 4-minute hearing. Hampson stood as the charge was read out, that between the 18th and 23rd of December, he murdered Sarah Ann Burke. The 99-year-old resident of the Green Old People's Home in Redruth died from shock after suffering a fractured jaw and cheekbone. A major police investigation was launched. Hampson from Penventon Terrace in Redruth was arrested soon afterwards. He made his first court appearance charged with murder on Boxing Day at a special sitting of Penzance magistrates. This morning there was no application for bail. Hampson, who's unemployed, was remanded in custody for a further 28 days.
Police in Dorset will be the first in the country to be issued with batons. They'll get longer and heavier defensive weapons in place of the traditional truncheon.
This is the new composite plastic baton being issued to Dorset's 1,300 policemen and women from tomorrow. At 20 inches, it's longer and heavier than the old-style wooden truncheon. Police say it's a vital defensive weapon at a time when violent assaults against the bobby on the beat have risen dramatically.
It allows the officers to keep a good distance between an offender and themselves. And obviously they have a lot of confidence when they go out in the street, particularly when they're going into situations which they know could be very violent.
The near-fatal attack on PC Leslie Harrison in Liverpool has renewed calls on the Police Federation to give officers greater protection.
Women police officers in this force will be issued with exactly the same truncheon, and they have adequate truncheon pockets in their skirts and their trousers to conceal it.
Dorset Police is the first force in the country to adopt new truncheons. Trials with an American side-armed baton were dropped after their use allegedly sparked the Los Angeles riots.
The general manager of Plymouth's troubled Pavilions Entertainment Complex is leaving. Michael Johnson is to be released from his contract in April, 18 months earlier than expected. He says it's a mutually agreed decision. The Pavilions is owned by the City Council and is estimated to have made losses of in excess of £1 million in its first year. People from all walks of life in the South West have had their achievements recognised in the New Year's Honours list. The widow of Liberal MP David Penhaligon heads the list. Annette Penhaligon, who's a Liberal Democrat councillor on Carrick District Council, has been made a Dame. She was elected to the council just 3 months after the death in a car accident of her husband, the former MP for Truro.
I joined the party nearly 30 years ago with David and was very involved with him. And this obviously is in recognition of what we did together.
What do you think David would think of this?
I think he'd be quite pleased, but I think he'd be amused at the title. I'm not sure that he would really approve of a dame in the family.
Plymouth-born swimmer Sharon Davies, who relaunched her swimming career earlier this year, gets an MBE. The 30-year-old former Plymouth schoolgirl won a Commonwealth gold medal in 1978 and clinched an Olympic gold in the Moscow Games 2 years later. From the world of politics, Sir Peter Emery, the MP for Honiton, is made a Privy Councillor. In Somerset, the Order of the Bath goes to Home Office official Ian Dunbar, who lives in Langport, while there are CBEs for Raymond Hall, Executive Director of Operations for Nuclear Electric, and for world-renowned photojournalist Donald McCullin of Batcombe. And finally, Doug Cole, the head of Torbay's Auxiliary Coast Guard Service, has been awarded the British Empire Medal.
And our congratulations to all of them. Right, it's sport next, and for my final introduction to Peter, what can I say other than here's Peter Barraclough.
What can you say? And what a week to say goodbye. It's FA Cup time this coming weekend, and the third round has thrown up the perfect tie. Non-league Yeovil, the greatest giant killers in soccer history, well, they're taking on the mighty Arsenal.
Forget the winter sales. In Yeovil, the queues have been for football tickets, and could these fans be about to see one of the biggest upsets ever? Yeovil are playing out of their skins. They've lost just twice in their last 18 games, their latest victims Bath City. They're confident and they'll have a big crowd at their backs. George Graham, take heed.
He will have had his own warnings because I think he's watched us 4 or 5 times. We play with a lot of passion and a lot of pride, and the lads are glad to be at Yeovil Football Club, and they will go out there and give it everything. So if they come down here and a few of his players don't fancy it and don't compete, they're going to find they've got a real game on their hands.
Arsenal, on the other hand, are off form. Despite beating Derby recently in the Coca-Cola, they can't seem to score. And they're prone to cup exits at the hands of minnows, last year to Wrexham.
Well, I mean, we're in the middle of probably our best run since we came back into the conference, and Arsenal in the middle of maybe their worst run for the last 4 or 5 years. So if there's a time to play them, it's got to be now.
Meanwhile, Plymouth Argyle face the rising stars of the Premier Division at Portman Road. Ipswich Town couldn't be in hotter form, thanks to goals like this from Chris Kawamia. And with the Pilgrims' disastrous away form so far this season, no one's giving Argyle a chance on Saturday, but much stranger things have happened in cup football.
Everybody's going to expect us to lose 5 or 6-0. And at the end of the day, if you can be a David and put one over on Goliath, then, everybody will be happy with that. But we'll go with the same professional approach that we use all the time down here at Plymouth Argyle, and hopefully we'll just get a proper mental approach from maybe 11 players instead of maybe 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, and just on the day there's a chance that we could just pull off a shock result.
Best of luck to them. Well, no cup tie for Exeter City, but a tough game all the same for Alan Ball's side, away to the runaway leaders Stoke City in the 3rd Division. Well, finally, it looks as if the South West is coming up trumps again for horse racing fans. The Exeter meeting tomorrow looks like being one of the very few survivors.
Away for the Plymouth Gin Holden Gold. Well, there can be few people now who aren't aware that TSW won't be with you in 1993, but just in case there was any doubt in Dorset, Weymouth's town crier Doris Eastwood has broadcast a farewell in her very own inimitable style. So from all of us here, or from me at least, goodbye.
Oh, yay! It is with great sadness today the the 31st of December, 1992, we have to say goodbye to our friends in TSW.
Oh, Doris, thank you. Well, weather next, and there's definitely a change of wind of change in the air tonight. Over to Andy Yeatman.
Thanks very much, Sue. The one day of the year tomorrow that most people don't notice the weather until about mid-afternoon anyway, so a quick look at it tonight. The satellite picture behind me shows a lot of cloud across the area today, a few holes in it, some more holes to come for a while tomorrow, and then another band of cloud building up behind it. The Atlantic chart in the morning looks like this, with frontal systems, very weak affairs over eastern parts of the country and those drifting away. This nasty looking weather system will be spreading up the west of the country and not affecting us, and high pressure holding on during the course of most of the weekend. So tonight's weather looking like this, the odd spot of drizzle in the east first thing, but a good deal of cloud in many places. Under any holes in the east later, some fog patches and a touch of frost with light winds mainly from the south. Tomorrow then, I think another dry day to come. A bit of gloomy start to the day in most places, but as we go through the day, the sunshine peeping through to brighten things up. In the sunshine, a little bit warmer than it has been, 5 or 6 Celsius in the east, that's the low 40s Fahrenheit, and up to 8 Celsius further west, which is a couple of degrees warmer still. The south to southeasterly winds, just a light or moderate breeze. High water times now then, and there we are, Newquay at 9:53, 22:18, and the outlook as we go towards the weekend, mostly dry with some bright spells, becoming less cold later. We'll forget about that last bit because it's a bad note to end on, Sue.
I haven't been eating sprouts, Andy. Thanks very much indeed for all your help. And a warm thank you also to everyone from the Plymouth Weather Centre too. Well, that's it from the TSW News Desk and from here in Studio 2, where we have been bringing you the regional news programmes for the South West for the past 31 years. Ken?
But it's not quite over yet, Sue, because outside the building there's a crowd of people waiting to join us in Studio 1 and elsewhere in the building for a last look back at TSW's 10 years plus of Television South West. Join us after the break.
One wabbit, one. Here comes the farmer with his gun. Bang, 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 bang goes the farmer's gun. So one wabbit, one. Hey, what's up, Don? Whoa, the wabbit's got Weetabix. Run, farmer, quick. Here comes the wabbit with the Weetabix. Yum, now I'll stop your tricks. So run, farmer, quick.
Have you had your Weetabix?
The Missing Body, filmed in Tennant's Extravision.
Ah, this lager. It's got no body.
No body? I have something downstairs that may interest you. This is what you'll be after. Tennant's Extra. Brewed in a certain sort of way. Only more so. The Missing Body. Oh, the candles. I'll just try the lights.
Tennant's Extra, brewed with extra vision.
At the Texas sale, just $79.95 buys you this stylish Chiswick wardrobe, and this chest of drawers, and this bedside cabinet, and the bed. There's even a choice of colors. From 9 a.m. tomorrow at the Texas sale.
The pair of you can save up to £100 on an overseas trip. If Sir can escape this summer.
The Comet sale is now on, with up to 25% off. You know where to come.
The New Year's here, so let's celebrate. At the Allied sale tomorrow, there's a lot of big surprises for everyone. Amazingly low-price velvet curtains from only £9.99. And fabulous half-price offers on suites from only £499. And big surprise bargains on over 3,000 carpets like this one, half price at only £3.99 per square yard. So get down to Allied this week and really surprise yourself.
Golden Wonder Crisps now taste even better, so you should look at them in a different way. Oh, Simpson, see me after this advertisement.
Golden Wonderland. One bite and you're there.
Thank you. Welcome back to the strains of a fanfare superbly played by 4 Royal Marine bandsmen from the Commando Training Centre at Lympstone. You know, there's hardly been a month go by without the Marines being involved in our coverage somewhere, be it international conflict or royal occasion. So it seems more than appropriate that they should be playing here in the TSW Garden, because this is a site with more than a tale to tell.
Our buildings occupied the site of a burial ground for French prisoners of the Napoleonic War. Workmen unearthed skeletons, and for years after, restless spirits were said to walk the corridors. Perhaps they'll be here long after TSW has departed. 1961 was the year the studios opened, bringing regional ITV to the far southwest for the very first time. The then Plymouth Council was delighted to see Westwood Television established in the heart of an emerging post-war city centre. Southwest viewers enjoyed a new kind of television. With the takeover by TSW in 1981, the Derrys Cross studios were refurbished in line with the massive changes taking place in television technology. Now, with the impending closure of TSW as a regional station, no one knows what the future of Derrys Cross will be, but the memories will live on, ghosts and all.
Many ghosts, a brief potted history of television here at Derrys Cross. And some of the many faces that have come and gone from your screens of TSW over the past 10 years are with us again tonight, and we'll be meeting them later. But before we do, before we wallow in nostalgia, let's turn the clock back to the early 80s for glimpses of TSW's past.
Thank you.
What do you give?
Cheers. Happy day.
How does it taste? Good tea?
Yes. Christ, I think it. Here I go, George. Yeah. Cheerio.
And then, all of a sudden, the population more than doubled overnight. In addition to Carrie Ann, the Youngs now have Mark and Ryan, Lisa and Stacey. They all arrived together in September, and life will never be the same again.
I see cash registers in my husband's eyes.
May the Lord in his goodness strengthen your consent and fill you both with his blessings. What God has joined together, let no man put asunder.
The last British trainer came off the drawing board some 20 years ago. It was the Beagle Pup, and that went into liquidation. The company went into receivership, I think, 14 years ago. There's been nothing in this country since.
And I can't say I heard a bang. I felt something, and I was just underwater. And then something told me to undo my seatbelt, so I put my right hand down and undid my seatbelt. And I went. There was no helicopter. I don't know if I went through a hole or what.
I think it's just a marvellous thing. I think it's wonderful. I was really overcome by the whole thing, the people, the thing coming out the sea. I heard about it, I knew it was down there, and I knew what had gone on here during the war, and I just wanted it up.
There. Look over there.
Advance with caution.
A massive intruder fleet is at the western entrance to the Channel. England's emergency beacons are alight. The nation is on the brink of war with Spain. Good afternoon. At daybreak today, English patrols at the entrance to the Channel sighted a group of unidentified ships manoeuvring in the wind south of the Isles of Scilly. By 4 o'clock this afternoon, a huge fleet could be clearly seen from the Cornish cliffs.
I think being a prisoner is a very funny thing. But I think it's a very humiliating experience. It is a very, I suppose to a degree, degrading experience. Because one is definitely a captive human being.
And yet it was while he was a prisoner that some of his more enlightened captors recognized and nurtured his artistic skills.
And up there on the hill in St. Endelian Church, eternal man comes week by week in the Eucharist. That is the supreme mystery of all the mysteries of St. Endelian.
Yes, I was down at Yeovilton last, I think it was about last June or July. To make sure as I got there, they sent a helicopter for me, flew me down there. We had a hell of a thrash there. Of course, these buggers had rigged it all up, detonators in flour bags, God knows what, big thunder flashes under the tail. We managed to blow 12 plaques off the wall and ruin the carpet.
I must insist that I like the colour red, but I think these are much more hygienic. I mean, sometimes you went into some of the red telephones and yuck.
Wonderful they are, as long as the vandalisms don't get at them.
Record breaking, our best August ever. We've doubled last year's sales. We've got something like 100 cars going out today. Our salesmen are working flat out to get them all out on time.
Well, this type of car will have to remain, for me anyway, the dream of a lifetime for quite a few more August the 1st to come. But then, you see, I'm not at all worried about new number plates.
Well, I don't think so. I mean, they've been in use for about 6 years now on the continent. They've been in use in London for almost 2 years, and it is very well accepted by the public. It's a good way of making savings for the council, and it's improving the service.
It will be, I reckon, one of the best touring theatre available throughout the country. So it's going to vie with all the big major places in places like Manchester and Birmingham.
Well, a quick look at the Theatre Royal there. Actually, a good double act, maybe the Rogers brothers. No relation, but David, first of all, how's things going for you?
Very well, thank you. I've taken time out from Orchard FM, which I now run the radio station in Somerset, and we've got investments in other radio and media companies, so that's going well. But in this very studio, I started my career as a boy broadcaster at the age of 19, and now I'm almost as old as you.
Well, shut up, you.
Thank you. And I did What's Ahead here, Treasure Hunt, Westwood Diary.
Your time is up. You just saying you're a bit nervous, so better shut up.
All right. There's Judy Spires. She owes me £5. I'll be getting that later.
In a minute. Chris, how are you? We just saw you on your bike. You didn't go very far, though, did you?
No, I didn't. I've gone a lot further since then.
Just up the road to the Spotlight in the end.
Up the road to the BBC to Spotlight.
Everything
yes.
right for you?
Yes, going well. Out of Westminster on Sunday afternoons, 2 o'clock on BBC Two.
Nice.
I'll get a plug in as well. Well, if he can get one in for Orchard FM.
Why not, Chris? Why not?
It's a bit late for plugs for Orchard FM, I think.
Thank you, Ken.
Well, in our next sequence, it's time to move forward a little bit, and the tempo and the temperature, for that matter, is definitely rising. It's very much on the upbeat.
Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Dear darling, it's been a long, long, lonely winter. Dear darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun.
Like if you were someday going to tuck this up here, then you'd get really queer sort of looks, and everybody would be like looking, and some people might scorn on you then.
A public display of toplessness, with all that goes with it, all the obvious enjoyment from the men and from the flaunting in public, is something which is not modest. And some women, I'm sure there are, who would rather that they retained this part of their anatomy for the privacy of their own lives.
Down at the Tulgus mine near Redruth, the owner, Chandra Derv, has decided to put £1,200 worth of gold nuggets into the tin stream. Then it's all down to you to pan the murky waters for that bright sparkle of success.
Take that gun out real slow, throw it on the floor, and stick your hands up, you bum.
You ain't having my gun!
This is Shillett. It's a tunneler's nightmare, and anyone who's planning to dig under the town of Saltash is going to have to come to terms with it. How are they going to do it? Well, do you remember that children's TV series Thunderbirds with a mechanical mole that dug underground?
Surely you have used the Mirror to put your own opinions very strongly.
Well,
as you say, the genuine handling of the strike.
You've made up your mind to ask a lot of silly questions. I can't stop you from asking them.
You can relax because you know that if there's anything wrong, you will be told immediately.
I use it on the baby. I got a 4-month-old baby, and it's so pure, it's free of chloride and fluoride and whatever.
Well, I had the bucket out in the garden anyway, because the cat always drinks out of it, you see. And I just thought, oh, well, there's some rainwater, and I'll put it in the bottles and see how it sells.
88 tonnes of butter and 36 tonnes of cheese have been handed over to 140 collection points around the city and as far south as Dartmouth.
By contrast, the second Catalina was 15 minutes late. Whatever the reason, the result was nearly disastrous. After slewing off course, the plane hit a marker buoy which stopped it ploughing into the promenade crowded with onlookers. Within minutes, the aircraft began to sink as water poured into the fuselage.
And here is the very lady with the tinkling cymbal. Between her knees, Judy Spires. Well, this, Judy, is where it all began for you, in this studio, wasn't it?
And do you know, Ken, I still do all my own stunts.
I do. What can I possibly talk to you about in this time? I mean, honestly, every time I look at you, you should be mandatory for anybody who has aspirations for this business. They should look at you.
And do you know, you started me off.
How did I do start you off?
You came, steady, you came to see me in a school play, Ken, when I was about, well, I won't say.
Yes, you were impersonating Louis Armstrong, weren't you?
I was a Welsh miner.
Oh, I know you had a black face. I thought it was very good at the time. But I think while we're seeing you on your national screens,
Yes.
TSW will still live. It'll still go on.
What a-
That's a nice thought,
what
that,
a
isn't it?
charming thing to
It
say,
is. It is
Kenneth.
lovely. God bless.
Sue. I've seen Judy, but something between her legs, but that takes the biscuit. Well, talking of one-man bands, here's the genuine article. The man who has written many of the pieces of music that TSW programmes have come wrapped up in over the past years, Ed Welsh. Ed, lovely to have you with us.
Thank you.
Get ready to tinkle the old ivories, because Ed has written a medley of music. So here with TSW's version of Name That Tune, see how many SIG tunes you can actually recognise. Ed, take it away.
Thank you.
on today. I wonder how many signatunes you actually recognised. Well, while Ed plays us out of part 2, I hope that you'll join us after the break, because we'll be meeting some of the many familiar faces behind me, and we'll also be looking at some of the unscripted moments of the lighter side from the TSW archive. So join us after the break. Ed?
If you really want to arrive in style, you can always rely on a Clear.
One wabbit, one wabbit, one. Here comes the farmer with his gun. Bang, 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 bang goes the farmer's gun. So one wabbit, one. Hey, what's up, Doc? Whoa, the wabbit's got Weetabix. Run, farmer, quick. Here comes the wabbit with the Weetabix. Yum, now I'll stop your tricks. So run, farmer, quick.
Have you had your Weetabix?
Don't be so mean to your hair.
Damage caused by everyday washing and styling soon adds up.
Get hot!
But VO5 hot oil protects your hair by actually penetrating and conditioning deep down. For daily damage, get the weekly repair. VO5 hot oil.
You use a moisturizer on your face to help replace the natural moisture it loses to stop it becoming dull and lifeless. New VO5 Plus moisturizing shampoo means you can now do the same for your hair. VO5 Plus, moisturizing shampoos and conditioners that equal beautiful hair.
The Fairway sale is on tomorrow with big-name opening offers like Silent Night double draw divan sets at half price, 1/3 off selected Parker Knoll chairs, and discounts of up to 30% off Stag Minstrel and Nathan teak finish furniture. The Fairway sale on tomorrow at Plymouth, Tavistock, Newton Abbot and St Austell.
Heartburn, acid indigestion, trapped wind. Andrew's antacid tablets help relieve 3 kinds of indigestion. They fizz pleasantly on the tongue, and 2 tablets can neutralize the acid in 5 lemons. When it comes to the acid test, Andrew's antacid tablets help relieve 3 kinds of indigestion.
Suck 'em and see. It's big. It's back. It's Big Bingo in the Sun, coming to a newsagent near you soon.
At the Texas sale, giant 10-liter cans of Dulux Emulsion for $19.99. 50 only per store from 9 a.m. tomorrow.
And our very grateful thanks there to the Plymouth Pipe Band for that stirring welcome back to the final part of this, our last live programme from TSW. But it's not all gloom and nostalgia. And at this point, I'm delighted to meet 2 local residents, in fact. Michelle, of the county, that's right, aren't you?
That's true.
You've recently,
yes.
Michelle Dautrice, who's here from the the Theatre Royal in Plymouth.
Well, no, I'm not actually.
Oh, aren't you?
I've just come from Dingles. I've been doing a bit of... Well, I got down from the top of the tree, actually.
Yeah.
But it's...
What's it like being at the top of that tree?
Top, at the top.
Really?
No,
Is it a bit prickly, a bit itchy?
Beg your pardon.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean, do you? Is it quite pleasant up there?
It is. It is.
Yes.
It's tough on the wings, though. It is.
You know, I was told that you very nearly, because you've been in pantomime, you started when you were quite young.
Do you know, I have actually never been in pantomime before.
Oh,
this
have
is
you
all
not?
Roger Redfarne's fault.
Does he spread malicious
another fine message
stories
got me
about
into
you?
it, yes.
He was telling me about something with the vaulting horse in the gym or something, and when you were 6.
I beg your pardon.
This isn't quite... Well, I'm so sorry. It sounds pretty awful, but this is...
nothing about it.
You know nothing about this.
Talk to this young man here, please.
Thank you very much for joining us. How's it going?
Very well, thank you very much. Yes. I'm very sad to see the last day of TSW. I'm very worried about Gus Honeybun. Yeah.
Well, we'll leave Gus for a moment, but I want to talk to Justin. Justin, very kind of you to join us.
It's good to be here. I'm not sure about the significance of being next to a fairy here.
No.
I'm not sure what the deal is out there. I'm not sure about
What do you
what's
mean?
going on. I'm not sure. What does he mean? I just want to know what's happening. It's Roger Redfern again.
Justin,
Yes,
is that vacancy? You're offering for a gentleman's gentleman, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Is the position still free?
Very much so.
Is
Very
it
much
possible
so.
that I may offer my services?
Certainly. You're just the person I'm looking for.
Fine. I'm very good with wine, both at
Good.
serving and drinking it, of course. Yes. And what about, can we take it that you'll be seeing more of Miss Goodyear this year, sir? May we take it as granted?
I hope so. Things are going quite well at the
So
moment.
that is a continuing relationship.
Yes, at the
And what
moment.
about Torquay United?
We're doing very well. Paul Compton and his son Jack, got to say hello to them, but hopefully 1993 will be better than 92.
It's a very hazardous business being in football, isn't it?
It is. That's what Mike Bateson keeps saying to my chairman.
It's almost as bad, surely, as being a television executive, isn't it?
Worse.
Hazardous.
Worse.
Highly dangerous.
It is.
Yes. Well, thank you both, and all of you, very much indeed. And I wonder, have you got a magic wand?
No, I've got a duster.
Well, can you
I thought I'd do a bit of
brandish
cleaning
your
before
duster?
you-
I want to come back to the present now for more clippings, more recent clippings from TSW's past. Back to the present time.
Lou Beach on a chilly day, but some of the youngsters playing here are totally oblivious to the wind. Some of them have never seen the sea before, and by the looks on their faces and their shrieks of delight, you can tell exactly what they think of it.
Let's see if it's true.
We're looking for volunteers to help staff the playground, join the management committee and get the playground open on an all-year basis. So if you feel that you can help, contact me, Jeanette Lynch on Exeter, that's 0392 265509.
It's fantastic.
Saturday, 9:25. What are you going to watch? Ghost Train. Wah!
As HMS Plymouth neared the Hoe, she saluted the city which gave her her name. Now, though, the Plymouth is redundant. With her crew of 240, she's just too expensive to run compared with the bigger, more modern frigates with their automation and crews of 140.
The Wrens, who are making maritime history boarding one of the last bastions of male society, are fully prepared for the rigours of working at sea. Since April, they've been put through intensive sea safety and firefighting courses. 5 more weeks of operational training lie ahead of them at Portland.
There was a musical reminder, too, of the days 45 years ago when Allied servicemen waiting for D-Day danced on the Hoe to the big band sound of Glenn Miller.
Here's your host, Bobby Crush.
Oh, what a lively crowd. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to our very last show. welcome to what is sadly the last programme in this series of Interfirm. What a shame, what a shame. What will we do?
That's my dog, starring this week Gandalf, the Golden Retriever, and Lady, the Rough Collie. Here's your host and General Dog's Body, Derek Hobson.
Wonderful audience.
Welcome to Amoebas to Zebras, a good-natured quiz about the world of nature, from birds to beetles, from mammals to mollusks, but played by humans.
Hello and welcome to the December diary. Nice bit of manure there. Nice good job to do during the winter months, preparing areas, getting some muck into the ground so things can grow.
I always sort of remember canal banks for sort of water voles and water shrews.
Yes.
Now, water voles, water shrews, what's the story there?
Well, water voles, they're a slightly bigger animal. In fact, if you're a Wind in the Willows fan, I reckon that Ratty in Wind in the Willows is probably a water vole. One of the problems, of course, of going along is that things are moving.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes.
What's that? That's a grass snake.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Oh, what a sighting.
It was the combination of high winds and high tides that wreaked so much havoc on the Channel coast. At Port Leven on the Lizard in Cornwall, seas swamped the lifeboat station. Coastal defences crumbled under the might of the waves.
The thousands of fallen trees across the region are one of the saddest reminders of the ferocity of last week's storms. It took centuries for some of these trees to grow, but they fell like dominoes in seconds.
The fire began at 10 o'clock yesterday evening at the front of the building on the 3rd floor. At first, the fire brigade were worried that there might be people inside and concentrated their efforts on checking the building. Soon, though, the first turntable ladder was brought into action, pouring water into the seat of the blaze. The store relied on a system of smoke detectors in case of fire. There were no sprinklers.
The historic East Gate in Totnes, the focus of one of the Southwest's oldest towns, has stood the test of time for centuries. In the early hours of this morning, it was transformed into a smouldering shell. The famous clock tower, which dates back to the Middle Ages, collapsed, and 10 timber-framed houses and shops were gutted.
Well, I've flown the region, I've walked the region, I've ridden horseback, but I've never been underneath it before.